Hello, welcome to Woodline Tracking. Today we're going to talk about 4th generation radio 101, the basics that you should have for your radios. This is one of the things that I notice a lot of preppers, patriots, what do you want to call yourselves, they all buy a radio, most of them do, but less than 10% of them knows how to use the radio and knows what it can do and how to be effective. I hear from people all the time, oh, you can't get range out of it, it's junk, it's that, you just don't know how to use them. And I'll go into what we have found out at using them a lot, personally and at the Ohio Defense Force, and what we found is to be the best antennas. Remember, the antenna is the key for all this. For the radio, you have to have good antennas. Just going out and buying a long antenna, most of them are junk. I'm just telling you from experience. But these aren't tough to use. The problem is nobody takes the time out to use them and they just want to complain. You need to know how to use the radio. Most people don't even know what 2 meter, 70 centimeter, GMRS, all that is. You need to educate yourself. It's not tough, but it's the honest truth. Own it. Like I said in the previous videos, own it. If you need to know how to use your radio. Because when the cell phones go down and they shut off your communication, this is probably the only means of communication you probably will have. People are like, well, they can track it, they can do this. Well, you don't think they can track your cell phone? These are probably tougher to track. Now, they can jam it. If you learn how to use these, you'll learn how to not be tracked or prevent jamming and all this. I can go on to it, but it'd just be wasting my time right now until you learn how to use these and understand what I am talking about. So I urge you, if you can actually literally sit down on your couch and watch YouTube videos, there's plenty of good ones out there showing you how to use and program these. Own it. Know how to use it and get the right gear, because communication is key. If you think you might have 1,000,000 rounds of ammo and all the rifles in the world, if you can't communicate to your group or your community, what good is it going to do you? And people overlook that bad. They think they check a box and they just have it, and they're like, I can use it, or less than 10% of them. Okay, fourth thing that's going on here is the radios. Basically, the two out there that I mostly recommend is the Bowfang 5.0 and the Wash-On 1P, KG1P, that's what this is. I think these Wash-Ons, or Wash-Us, are much better radios than the Bowfangs. These cost like 3 times as much, but they're a much better radio to be used, because most of the Bowfangs now, when you buy them, they'll just stick in 2 meter and 70 centimeter bands, amateur bands. They won't go outside them bands. They pretty much, all of them have been bought up, and they won't make them go outside the bands. You might be able to listen, but you can't transmit. A lot of these here, these Wash-Us or Wash-Ons, whatever the name is, will do it. Will do MORS, GMRS, even go below the 2 meter bands, up above them. So that is important. Hint, okay? So I recommend, plus these, you can name them without using a computer. The Bowfangs, you can just give it a number. And I think these are user-friendly and a much better radio than a Bowfang. So I urge you to at least buy one good radio like this or something adequate to this. Remember, you get what you pay for. And I think these are a lot more easier to use too. So you need to get a good radio. Remember, this is the baseline. This is what everybody should have as a patriot or a prepper minimum. Because if you don't understand none of this, you can't go up to base stations and other stuff. So I recommend one of them radios. Next is the most important things is antennas. You need to have, I recommend 3 different types of antennas. Now I've done intensive testing, and I know a comm guys at Ohio Defense Force has done intensive studies, and this is what we found out. Basically, we'll be talking about 2 meter here. This antenna here, this high gain SMA antenna, I'll put all the links for this below the descriptions. This one right here is the best antenna we have tested. You can get out 25 miles and hit repeaters. Done it all the time. Long, of course, terrain dictates, but if it's reasonably flat, you can use this antenna. Much better than any other antenna that we've tested that is a longer antenna, 15, 16 inches around there. Like I said, we'll have all the links for all this below. So I urge you to get this antenna as a base antenna for it, because you'll get 25 miles hitting repeaters with it. Okay, next is these little stubby antennas. The Bang FU antenna, it's 1.5 inches, okay? And they make a bunch of these. These aren't so crucial, are so important. I recommend getting at least one of these antennas. The reason why? People are like, you don't get good range on it. Well, the reason that is good, because if you're in a small team and your team's within a couple hundred yards of you, these work great. Turn the power down, use these, and nobody else can pick you up because you're not transmitting that far. So it's just small team communication. These things work great. The RTO can have something longer to get out, okay? So I urge you to get something like this. This isn't crucial, they're all test out about the same. Why is that important? Because if you're coming to my neck of woods, I would have my comms guys monitoring all the radio traffic around us to see if, and all of a sudden if we start seeing traffic that is not somebody we know, what do you think we're going to do? So these are great for small team communications. Next, I recommend getting this roll-up J-pole. It's about 14 feet total in length, roughly, plus or minus, roughly 10 feet of coax and 4 feet of antenna. These is great. You can throw this up a tree. You can throw this up a tree, and it will work great. And to give you farther communications, you can leave it outside your house up on a tree and just run it through a window, and this you can communicate with people with it through that way. It rolls up, it works great. I have taught Semprex 45 miles to another guy, Semprex, with this. And still had good signal, probably go farther, but that's just the farthest I made a contact Semprex with this in Central Ohio. So, in essence, this is a great antenna. It's only about 20 bucks, it's only about 35 bucks. Again, I'll have a link down here below. So, if you have this, you can deploy it and get maximum range on 2 meter with it. So, I urge you to buy all 3 of these. These are like 5, 10 bucks a piece. This is like 20 bucks a piece. This is like 30 some bucks a piece. So you're not looking at a lot of money to get yourself set up. Roughly, you know, it depends on what radio you buy. If you buy a bull frame, around 100 bucks or so. This is probably like around 200 some bucks or so. And you have a good system, because you need to communicate when they cut off your phones and other forms of communication. So I urge you to get a plan. And I also urge you, if you have a group, have a plan, so if something was to happen, that you guys know on certain days, at certain times, on certain frequencies, you can communicate. That's the time that you will talk and communicate. So I hope this helped. I urge you all to get a plan together and get your gear straight away and know how to use it. All right? Remember, time may go on, but your life may not.